Coach Tony, Risling Podium Performance, and it's Monday, leg day, another 6, 12, 25. Last week I got through 3 sets of everything, but I did not get all of the reps. So this week, my main goal is to get all the reps on every exercise this week. So if you like this type of content, please take a moment now to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below as I get into my own torture here. Here we go with the warm-ups. Going from running shoes into the lifting shoes, just 1 rep here. Nice and easy, just making sure everything's still moving smooth. All right, now we get into the actual first and second set side by side. Figured I'd put these two side by side instead of the second and third set. So the first set on the left, everything's moving really smooth, to be honest. It felt great overall. It's just right here, the bar actually slid right across my throat, and I started to see funny colors as I was about to take this next rep here. So yeah, I had to rack because it was that, or I was going to La La Land. It was getting that close. The vision was coming in. But both rep sets felt good overall. And then we get into the back squats here. So the first set, I was still kind of seeing a little darker colors at this point after nearly choking myself unconscious on the front squats. That's the thing with front squats. You might end up choking yourself unconscious, especially if you're doing them right and heavy enough. But each rep, especially on the second set, I'm having to take a little more rest in between reps just to catch my breath. At this point, it's just a struggle. Taking a look at the depth, yeah, I felt like I was getting full depth, but video evidence says otherwise. I was not actually getting the full depth, and as you can see there on the with the first set, my reaction, I was coming up a little crooked as well after kind of choking myself. So just keeping these two lined up. Second set, I got 12. The first set, I think it was only 10 there. And I just didn't recover from nearly choking myself out, and I was coming up crooked. And here is just pure, unadulterated suffering is the only way to describe these lunge walks with all the sets. There was no fun involved here. This is just, you just keep going. It's pure willpower. That's what it takes with lunge walks, just willpower. I will confess, you'll notice I don't go all the way down and hit my knee on the ground. I will never do that or advocate for that on a lunge walk. You should get a little bit more range than I'm getting, especially on the second set. The first set was fairly good overall. I was still getting good extension forward and in through the knees, but I could still get a little bit deeper, probably another inch. There you can see on the second set, I needed to take a brief pause, but you just keep going. You just keep going. That's all it really is. You'll notice, yes, the first set, when you're a little more fresh, it is going much better. I'm faster overall with it. See, I'm finishing, 4 or 5 seconds faster than on the second set. And now, the third set. This hurt. The whole set just hurt. I could barely really function here, but trying to get 4 down. So there's the first rep, and at this point, the little exertion headache that comes every so often hit. And then the same thing that happened on the first set, the bar kind of got a little out of place. You'll see me trying to kind of toss it back up, but it didn't really help. And there was just nothing left in the legs there. I let out a nice little fuck when I didn't get the 6th rep, because it's frustrating when you are that close, but you know you just can't quite get it. And then we get into the back squats. These overall went a little bit better than actually expected. The first 3, good, and then it's okay. I need to take a little, not necessarily full rest pause, but I need to actually make sure I get a good breath in on every rep. Right here, you start to notice I start to kind of good morning a little bit. The hips are shooting back. That's a sign of real fatigue really hitting on a back squat. When the hips start to shoot back and then up, you've kind of lost a little bit of that technical proficiency. If you've got a strong back, strong glutes, you can get away with it more so. Like this weight, I can get away with it. If I'm going up over 300, I'm not going to be able to get away with it. Yeah, I got all 12 reps, which is actually surprised me. But once I got to the 9th rep, it was like, okay, I gotta fucking finish. That's the only thing that went through my head is, I have to fucking finish this. And now it's just suffer. This was probably the worst feeling I have felt on a leg workout in several years. Every step just sucked. And I was honestly trying not to puke. My thighs were just screaming. See, I'm already having to take a break. I can't even keep my head up. I'm suffering. This is what you get to when you actually push the limit of what you're capable of. I am as close as it basically gets to concentric muscular failure as I will get with doing lunge walks right here when I'm doing this set. Every step hurt. Right about probably 2 steps from here, I started getting like right down the center of the rectus femoris, that muscle in the middle of your thigh, started to kind of get some spasming and cramping going on. Just trying to take my mind off of everything here. That's the thing with doing high volume lunge walks. It's just going to suck. It's going to build the work capacity though. You're going to build that ability to buffer lactic acid because you're generating so much of it. And then we get the last couple steps here, which is just trying to finish.
So the whole purpose behind doing the front and then the back squat, back to back, and then the lunge walks is in order for your legs to really develop, especially the quads specifically, they take an obscene amount of volume. You can either do an insane amount of high weight stuff, or you can do a whole lot of high volume. I like a little bit of both. The volume helps build that work capacity up so that when you are doing the high intensity, high weight stuff, you're able to handle a little bit more volume there so that you can get more benefit from it, you can recover better. But by doing this back to back, I'm taking the weight for the front squat, trying to get 6 reps, and then because you can handle a lot more volume with the back squats because you don't have to stay as perfectly upright, you can cheat a little bit, you can good morning it a little bit as you start to fatigue and the low back works a little bit more, the glutes work a little bit more, but the quads can handle an insane amount of volume. If you've got a leg press in your facility, you can probably throw 300, 400, 500 pounds in there and do a set of 50. You can do a 2-minute set where you do as many reps as possible. That's what it takes for your quadriceps to actually grow. They take a lot of volume. The reason you see speed skaters and sprint cyclists with such large thighs is the amount of lactic work they're doing on the track, whether it's on the bike or on the skates. They're doing so much work, building so much lactic that their legs are forced to grow in order to handle and to kind of buffer the amount of metabolic byproduct that's happening, the amount of lactate, pyruvate, the hydrogen ions. So I'm kind of mimicking the same type of thing for the quads with the weights that I'm not able to get onto doing speed skating or cycling. 1, I don't find those as much fun, and 2, I don't have the facilities to do it. So I can do a lot of that same volume type work just with the weights. Also, you're getting a lot of cardiovascular work from it. It's been 4 minutes since I finished the last set and I'm still breathing really hard, still struggling to stand because of the amount of output that it took for me to do that. 205 pounds, that's 40 pounds more than I weigh right now. It's not the heaviest, but that's all I can physically do with that for basically doing 18 reps on squat set after set, with the first 6 of them being front squats, already pre-fatiguing the quads as well as the upper back. And then when I get into doing the back squats, I'm just torching things and then going over and doing those lunge walks. It's just suffering. The only way to describe the lunge walks was 25 per leg at that point. It's just the will to suffer. But if you want your legs to develop, get stronger, get bigger, you have to do the suffering work. They require it. They're not going to get bigger otherwise.
Alrighty, so learned the hard way that the camera had actually cut out the 3rd set. So here's the 1st and 2nd set of these. So overall, this felt way better. Last week, I had that cramp in my left gastroc that really caused some issues here. I had no issues with that this week. Well hydrated, so no issues there, and everything felt good. Got all the reps. That's what the big thing was. Here is where, on the first set, things kind of went downhill real quick here. It just never felt good right from the first pull off the floor. But the second set, 100 times better. Like, everything felt great on the second set. I don't know what it was on the first set here, but nothing really felt good. Everything was just, like, there, stepping back, it felt miserable right from the get-go. Sometimes you're going to be like that. That's the thing with strength and training. Some days are going to feel great, some sets are going to feel great, some reps are going to feel great, and sometimes it just feels like shit. These back extensions, they felt real good. It's just up and down. At this point, my glutes and hamstrings were screaming. They were absolutely screaming at this point. But it's just a high volume exercise that you can do. You just take a deep breath and you go and you don't stop.
That's everything for today's workout. It was rough. Legs is always pretty rough. When I'm doing the hamstring part, the first exercise being the leg curl, that's working the hamstrings and its knee flexion capability, so you're not able to do as many reps there. And the second and third exercise, the RDLs and the back extensions, works the hip extension, so helping you stand up. Oh boy, the glute pump right now, between the squats and that, it's fun. Right now my butt cheeks are vibrating. It's a fun feeling. Yeah, my post-workout today is going to be 2 scoops of ATP Labs grass-fed whey, a half scoop of the Greensbirds whole food mix, as well as 5 grams of creatine monohydrate from Clean Athlete. If you want to get 10% off an order from atplabs.com, go to the link in the description below, atplabs.com, and use code RISLING10, that's RISLING 10, at checkout. So the 6-12-25, it's not going to be quite as brutal on the posterior chain as it is when you're focusing as much as I did just on quads, but it's still going to be a fight because it's that second series. It's still going to be really rough to get through. So if you like this content and you got some value out of the insights I was giving you into my own workout, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with any questions or your own experiences with 6-12-25 on legs. Coach Tony, Risling Podium Performance. Go give yourself a brutal leg workout. I challenge you to do this one and embrace your potential.